immediately what I did was I stayed on the phone with Lorraine, and then I wanted to seek God's face to find an answer where there was still hope.
We were doing the
Spouse
spouse
visa.
visa.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
It was really hard. It was very, very hard.
Yeah, we got married in November the 29th, 2025. And then come January, we had to split, and Lorraine had to go back to South Africa.
And that was January the 26th that I had to fly out and arrive in South Africa on the 27th. And yeah, we had booked an Airbnb for myself to stay for that duration.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we never really anticipated that it was going to take 3 months. We were hopeful and just staying with what we originally had planned for.
Yeah, so we thought that originally it was going to take 1 month for the spouse visa to be finished, so that we would see each other maybe in March.
Yeah.
But what happened next changed everything.
What happened next? Doom, doom, doom. We were both shocked. And it was something so ridiculous and so stupid that if they wanted, they could have overlooked it. You know?
Just to fill you guys in, our first application for the spouse visa, it got rejected, which was a real shock to us. And I know it had a real emotional effect on us as well.
It was a Monday, if I'm not mistaken, because we were planning that if it had arrived on the Monday, I'll then fly out on the Friday.
On the Friday,
you know? So yeah, I think it was definitely on the Monday. In the evening, it was around 8 o'clock my side, but it was 6 p.m. within the UK time. And I remember the first time I saw the highlights of the email saying UKVI visa updates. And then I opened the email and my heart sank. It literally sank because the email had an attachment to it, you know? And as I opened that attachment and I started reading it, I was lost of words. I didn't know how to feel. My tears were not tearing. Like they were just not flowing.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you plan how you would react when something goes a certain way, I already had a reaction for if I had like a refusal, that I would just cry and cry and cry. Or if I got accepted, I'll be dancing and happy and shouting. But when it actually happened in real life, none of that happened. Like, the only thing I can recall was my heart sank, and my first response was to forward the email to my husband and immediately call him.
Yeah, and that week in itself.
How did you feel like after reading that email?
That week in itself was a difficult week as well. I think the pastor said on the Sunday that don't let yourself be distracted by whatever happens around you, but keep your eyes fixed on Jesus. That was the main message from the preach. And a lot was happening that week. I had car problems. I just received the news about the visa too. I can't remember what else was going on at the time, but there was definitely other difficulties. I think the kids were behaving poorly at school when I was teaching, and it was really difficult for that. So there's just, and I think I was coming into concert season at my job as well, so the pressure was really on. And how I felt a sinking sensation, and immediately what I did was I stayed on the phone with Lorraine, and then I just went and prayed, and I wanted to seek God's face to find an answer about, you know, what his plan was behind all of this, whether there was still hope. The reason it was failed because of the financial element, and apparently this is really common for people who apply for the spouse visa, that, you know, if you're not bang on that mark of £29,000 for the sponsor, they don't want to hear about it.
You ain't gonna get it.
So we were short by £150. Apparently other people had it a lot harder. They were short by like a penny, 10p.
Literally, you'll be short of like 1p.
Yeah.
Or 10p.
And they would refuse you.
Blank off refuse you.
So that was a real shock for us. And annoyingly, we actually had savings which we didn't declare.
I mean, honestly, let's say marry a prayerful man, a God-driven man. I have to say, I ticked the box on that because this man can pray for years to come. But honestly, also like with the first visa, it never really set well within my own spirit. Like I somehow knew that there was something that was going to be wrong with it, but I couldn't pinpoint what it was until we got that refusal letter. Then I was like, oh, because I had panic attacks, anxieties, depression, name it. I was going through the most. And to top it off, I did not have any single community around me, you know. And I think that also added onto all the anxieties and depression, because as a Christian, it's good to surround yourself with other believers
Totally.
and like get word of wisdoms from them. You know, I did do my due diligence by watching the sermons online, you know, but it's different when you can connect with those people face to face.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it was very, very difficult for me up until the last month when I actually found a church. And then I think I attended that church for like the whole month of
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
Or was it April? The whole of April I was attending that church, and it was very comforting. It's called CLC in Rhodoport, Florida Hills. If any of you want to go in South Africa, it's an incredible community based. They put God first, you know, they believe in the walk with God and how you have to put God before you with everything that you do. So I would honestly, guys, like even if you are new in your faith walk, that is an incredible church. You would learn a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, first rejection, which meant that we then had to put in another application for the spouse visa.
The following day.
The following day, by God's grace, He opened up that
ding,
door.
ding, ding. We lost a lot of money.
Yeah. I think it comes to about £5,000 in total just to do the visa applications
As a whole.
as a whole. Yeah.
And then we lost, I think, roughly around
because the NHS.
2.5.
The NHS,
we
yeah.
lost £2,500 for the first visa application. And I have to say we are so grateful to have such, well, I'm very, very grateful to have such supporting in-laws, because if they did not support us with, you know, the entire process in general, from the time we got married up until now, you know, they've been like our backbone, incredible people. And like with the second visa application, they were on the go. They were like, how fast can we do this? They were doing all the research. And immediately after we got that refusal, the following day we sent in a new application.
Yeah.
You know, and then we did we expedite it?
Yeah, we did. We expedited the visa as well, which meant that it would only take
a month.
30 days.
Yeah. And when I tell you God is good, guys, God is good. Once the application was in, we had to choose the days of doing a biometrics. And as if you know, or if you are aware of it, the government UK would only start counting, you know, the days of when your visa will come up from the day you do your biometrics. And we were praying that we'll get something within that week and not the following week. And God pulled through. God literally, He did hibbly bubbly boom. And then we got the biometrics 2 days after the application.
That's true.
Yeah. And then it was a waiting game.
It was a waiting game. And how did you cope in the waiting? Like, what did your daily life look like?
I would say during that, the second time around was a whole lot better compared to the first time around, you know. I was more positive about the application. And also considering how I then started attending the church, you know, so there was a positive impact coming from having that community around me. And I always dwelled within the scriptures.
Mm.
So I had a routine of like the first thing I do when I wake up is read my Bible, spend time with God, and then do other things. And that was my ritual going forth. Um, I am a human, you know, and sometimes doubts will creep in and you start finding yourself questioning things. But also having to hear the preach that Pastor Toby said, Jubilee Church, London, Pastor Toby said was, do not let doubt creep in. Do not allow yourself to have those small cracks on the wall where the enemy can start sleeping in and telling you that you're not worth it, or start having doubtful thoughts and things like that. And you know, I tried telling myself positive things. I'd have phone calls with the pastor, um, just to like get words of encouragement, guys. Like, it's very important because I believe this was a really hard time for us.
It was.
You know.
And Lorraine also, what she hasn't said, was she was also studying for accountancy exams as well. And
Yeah.
towards the last week of the waiting, when we were expecting the visa to arrive, she just couldn't focus, she couldn't concentrate, she couldn't do anything.
Nothing was happening.
The nerves were kind of kicking in, and it's very.
And they do kick in.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
They don't creep, they attack.
Yeah. I guess for me, it was kind of like I did have faith that God would pull through, because we recalled and we counted our blessings. So we know that God's brought us together. Like, we met on the cruise ship, and we got married following that, and everything that in our lives has happened because of Him. So we know that He's the one with the plans here.
Yeah.
And so, yes, this is just part of the process. This is part of the journey. One lesson that we learned from this whole kind of waiting process was, you know, if you do have savings, do declare it. If you're thinking of going through the spouse visa, definitely add those in, you know, because it does help. Another lesson that we learned is that, you know, God is still working when nothing seems to be happening. He's still there working behind the scenes.